Hello students, this module deals on economics, class 9th, chapter 1, story of village Palampur. One of the main objectives of studying this chapter is to see that you are familiarized with various basic concepts of economics through this imaginary village Palampur. And this is the gateway. This chapter is the gateway to know all major villages of our country. So whatever we study in village Palampur can be applied to India as a whole. When you talk about modern villages or any villages in our country, there are few features that come to our mind. And these features which we study in village Palampur, as I said earlier, can be applied to any villages of our country. So the one feature that comes to my mind is that all weather roads. If you see in our country, if you see the villages in our country, most of the villages have all weather roads. That's one of the features. The second one is that many kinds of transports are also visible. You have roads, and of course, you have other means of transports like bullock carts, we have tongas or bogies, and the modern means of transport too you will see in the modern villages. And one more important, third one is that most of the houses in modern villages or in our country today, they have electricity supply. And these electricity, they use it for, especially for agricultural activities. We electrically run tubules we have. Another aspect that comes from the primary schools we have, health centers, what we call primary health centers. We have government hospitals, we have private hospitals, we have to treat the normal diseases which common people face. So these are the features of a modern village, and these features can be applied to all parts of our country. When you talk about village Palampur or any villages of our country, we need to talk about what are the economic activities they do. That is their source of livelihood. The first economic activity generally people are engaged in villages farming. And the second one, which is a supplementary to the main activity called farming, is a non farming activity. So, in villages, you could see people engaged in farming and non farming activity mainly. And when you talk about non farming, small scale manufacturing can be one of the economic activity they engage there, or it can be transportation where the people are engaged in ferrying people from one place to another, transporting goods from one place to another, or it can be also of the shopkeeping, small shops where you sell basic commodities to the common people. So this is what in villages you could see. People are engaged in economic activity and they are mainly classified as the two. Number one is farming and number two is non-farming economic activity. To carry out farming or non-farming economic activity, we need some inputs, and these inputs are called as factors of production. So, what do we need? We need, take an example, we need labor, we need workers to carry out various economic activities. We need land, for example, agricultural land we need. Even to carry out small scale manufacturing units, we need land. The third important aspect we need is the capital. When you talk about capital, I think most of us we think it is in terms of money. Capital doesn't mean merely in terms of money. Capital also include already invested money in different forms. When I talk about capital, of course, fixed one. What are those fixed capital or money which is already invested? Like we have tools, we have machinery, am I right? Or we have buildings. So all these factors also need a part of capital, what is called fixed capital, also needed to carry out economic activities and to carry out day-to-day activity. Because when you say tools, when we say machines or buildings, once invested, they can be used for many years. But to carry out day-to-day activities, we need some capital, and we call those capital as working capital. Take an example: money we need, or you need raw materials to carry out economic activities. So, working and fixed together, we group as capital. So, we need capital. And to carry out all these activities like farming and non-farming, it's not merely we have three factors we can carry out the economic activity. We need one most important factor that is important to carry out this economic activity that we call as human resource, or what you call knowledge and enterprise, educated people, human beings to carry out these economic activities. So, to carry out any production activity, we need labor, we need capital, we need land, and we need human capital. All these together we call as factors of production. As I said earlier, the main economic activity in most of the villages, including village Palampur, is farming. And when I talk about farming, there are two things that comes to my mind. One is when I say farming, it is the farmers who have land. And second one, who don't have land, who also engaged in farming activity, they go to work in other farm as farm laborers. But the issue is here, yes, we have farming activity as the main economic activity. But the issue is the land where we work, which is fixed. We have reached to the stage where we can't expand the production now. We can't include more land under cultivation, including village Palampur. So then the question arises then how do we increase the production activity? Because the land is fixed. So this is the big question that comes to our mind. As the land is fixed, how can we expand the production activity? We can't bring more land, then we have to increase the production within the available land. How do we do that? So the land is fixed, and we have a big question how do we increase the production within fixed land? Before going to that issue, let me just brief you. What are those crops being grown in our villages? Take an example, we have potatoes being grown, we have sugarcane being grown in most of the villages, we have wheat cultivation in most parts of our country, and also we have the production of bajra in our countries. So we have these production, various crops being grown on the same piece of land. And I hope we call this technique as a multiple cropping. And to have multiple cropping, what do we need? We need irrigation facility, continuous irrigation facility. It's not we depend mainly on rain. Apart from rain, of course, during rainy season, we need to have irrigation facility during other seasons too. And along with irrigation facility, we need to have all the modern techniques of production. What are those modern techniques of production? I'll brief you a little later. So we need irrigation facility and we need modern farming methods. If we adopt these two major strategies, then definitely we can increase the production within the piece of land, and we can produce many crops within the same fixed land, what you call as a multiple cropping. And this is one of the best strategies to solve the problem. And that was the main question which we had. How do we increase the production within the fixed land? And that can be done with the help of irrigation or modern farming techniques. Because with these two techniques, we can go for multiple cropping. Before moving further, let me make a clear difference between traditional or modern farming method. Using traditional seeds or using naturally available fertilizers like cow dung or using traditional way of irrigation like using Persian wheels. They're all grouped as one, and these are the strategies we adopt in traditional farming method. Using high yielding variety seeds or modern machinery or is that of construction of more dams to irrigate more land under cultivation or bring more land under cultivation, using pesticides, that's another aspect, or electricity, supplying more electricity to almost all villages of our country, and that can be helpful for irrigational activity and other activities within the village, or even the use of fertilizers which are being produced in factories. So these strategies can be grouped as modern farming strategy. So there is a clear difference between traditional farming and modern farming strategy. So our village, Palampur, where the land is fixed, tried to avoid the problem of lack of production by going or by adopting modern means of agricultural activities, what is called modern farming strategies. In our country, these strategies were adopted first in states like Punjab, Haryana, or Western Uttar Pradesh. These are the states that used modern farming methods. It is in these states actually the Green Revolution was implemented first, and later, of course, it expanded to other parts of the country. When you talk about modern farming methods and using modern techniques of farming, there are some negativities that bothers us. Number one is that when you adopt modern farming strategies, you'll be stressing more on the production of wheat or rice. You will be neglecting the cultivation of pulses. Another aspect that concerns and bothers us is the loss of soil fertility. As we depend more and use more fertilizers, the soil fertility can be lost. Third aspect is that of reduction in underground water table, because we use more water for agricultural activity. We pump out more water for agricultural activity. So the underground water table can be reduced. So these are the three major concerns when we talk about modern farming strategies. Number one, pulses can be neglected. Number two, soil fertility can be lost. And number three is reduction of groundwater table. Let me talk some other aspects of land, one of the most important factors of production in any villages of our country. The land distribution in our country is not equal. Let me prove by taking an example from our village Palampur. If you look at this pie chart, there are people who don't have land, families they don't have land. If you look at the graph here, I think it is 150 families don't have land. And in village Palampur, we have around 450 families. And we have around 240 families, less than 2 hectares of land, less than 2 hectares of land. And we have only 60 families having more than 2 hectares of land. So what does it indicate? It indicates that in village Palampur, land is not distributed equally, and it is only some upper sections, upper caste people have land in them or under them. It is only some upper sections have land under their control, and most of the people don't have land. Even if they have land, it is less than 2 hectares of land. So now apply this to all parts of our country. What is the conclusion? Is that in our country, most of the lands belongs to rich people, most of the land belong to upper caste people. Common people don't have any control over land. So the land is not distributed equally. So let me sum up one of the factors of production. So far we studied in village Palampur and we apply. And when you talk about land, other parts of our country, that is a land. The first thing that comes to our mind, the land is fixed. And the second aspect which we studied just now, the distribution of land, which is unequal. And as the land is fixed, now how do you increase the production? We adopted modern farming methods in most of the villages of our country. Of course, that led to our water level has come down and it also spoiled the soil fertility. So this is one of the factors of production, land, which we discussed in detail, taking an example of village Palampur. After studying the first factor called land, now let's study the second factor, the labor. Labor is very important to carry out all economic activities. It could be farming or non-farming economic activities in any parts of our village, including village Palampur. And as far as village Palampur, of course, this can be applied to other parts of the country also. The first point that is to be remembered is that the small farmers who have less than 2 hectares of land, how do they arrange labor? And such farmers arrange labors. How do they arrange? It is only with the help of their own family. The land is fixed, the small piece of land, and they cannot work throughout the years. All the financial so they work more in their land. Go for modern and there is second category, there is the rich farmers who have large acres of land. How do they arrange labor? They hire laborers. Now, who are these laborers? The laborers come from those families who have small piece of land under them, who don't have work throughout the year. They work during rainy season in their piece of land, whereas in other seasons they don't have work, so they can go to work under rich farmers' land. They have all the facilities, they have all the modern farming strategies, and they cultivate land throughout the year. So in their land, these small farmers and their family members work as farm laborers. So the rich farmer hire laborers. And one more important aspect you need to remember when you talk about labor is that, especially regarding small farmers, whose family members work in their land and also they go to work in rich farmers' land. What about their working condition? Number one important aspect that is to be remembered is they are paid wages for their day-to-day work, sometime in cash or in kind. And farm laborers, these farm laborers are employed only when there is a work. So it is called as a seasonal nature, seasonality of work. They don't have work throughout the year. Maybe during harvesting time they will have the work. Other seasons they don't have the work. And wages are so very less. And as we studied earlier, these conditions of less wages, more work, and work only during some times, and such working conditions, we group such workers as unorganized. So, this is one of the important aspects need to be remembered when you talk about labor in villages, including village Palampur, where most of the people work in farms as farm laborers whose working condition is very bad or can be also called as unorganized workers. The third important factor, which we introduced in the beginning, land we studied, labor we discussed. The third factor is the capital. And we discussed capital as two parts, working and fixed. And I'm not going to discuss those aspects now. I have some other issues need to be clarified here. Capital, how this capital is being arranged in village Palampur, and as we studied in all other aspects, can be applied to other parts of our country too. How do they arrange capital? Money required and also other machinery required. Let me talk about small farmers who have less than, or small or medium farmers who have less than 2 hectares of land. How do they arrange capital? Do they arrange capital by themselves? No, because they don't have much money that they get from production activity. They don't sell surplus in the market. So they don't have savings there. So how do they arrange capital? They borrow from the rich landlords or the traders who supply them for fertilizers or other necessary inputs for the production activities. So this is one way. Small farmers, they don't have their savings, they borrow from other. For the huge interest rate, sometimes it leads to the debt trap. They will be trapped when they are not in a position to pay back the loan. Then they have to sell their land. And this is the normal feature which you could see in Indian villages where the farmers do face this problem. The second aspect is the rich farmer. How do they arrange capital? It's very simple. They have large acres of land, they adopt modern farming strategies. So they increase production and they surplus production they sell in the market. And after selling the surplus production in the market, they get extra amount there that they save it in the bank, and they use that amount for the agricultural activities in the coming season for buying pesticides or to arrange machinery. They use those savings. So there is a clear difference between rich farmer and the poor farmer in terms of arranging capital in this village called Palampur, and that can be applied to all the villages of our country. Apart from farming activities, people are also engaged in non-farming activities in all the villages of our country. What are those non-farming activities? Number one is dairy farming. It actually supplements their meager income which they get from farming activity. Second important non-farming activity is small-scale manufacturing, like pottery making or basket weaving, where the family members work. The third one, that is the shops, where these shop sellers get items from the cities or towns and sell all the common products required to the common people. The last important non-farming activity that could be seen in village Palampur and also in most of the villages of our country is transportation, where people are engaged in transporting people, transporting goods from one place to another. We have jeeps, we have trucks, we have tongawalas. So these are the main non-farming activity that could be seen in villages. Number of people engaged in non-farming activity is very less compared to farming, because the main activity is farming in villages. Non-farming activity where people are engaged, but the number of people engaged in non-farming activity is very less. So let me conclude this module. So we studied the main activity in most of the villages, that is farming, and in the process of increasing production in the fixed land. Farmers have adopted modern means of farming to increase the production, and they also require a huge capital to carry out these activities. We studied that most of the farmers in villages do face difficulties in arranging capital because they don't have more savings. Medium and large farmers have their own savings, whereas 80% of the farmers find it difficult to obtain capital because that's very important to start and continue the agricultural activity. Apart from that, we also studied that people also engage in non-farming activity, but the number is very less. So, what is to be done to increase non-farming activity in villages? I have just summed up three major points which are given in your summary of the textbook. Is number one, to see that people are getting loan at a cheaper rate so they can engage in farming, they can also start non-farming activities. Second one, most of the villages need to be connected to the nearby towns or cities so that farmers can sell their products like what we have seen in village Palampur. That's very important. So when villages are connected to the cities and towns through roads, through transportation and telephone facilities, more and more non-farming activities can be created and people can be engaged in non-farming activity. So with these remarks, let me conclude this module on village Palampur from class 9 economics. So thank you very much for watching this video.